The cracks. The first doubt arrived so quietly, I almost did not hear it. It was a Saturday morning, nearly 3 months after Adeze and the children had moved in. I came downstairs early. I was an early riser. Chike was not. I found Obina, the youngest, standing in the kitchen in his pajamas, looking up at the photograph on the refrigerator. It was a photograph of Chike and me from our honeymoon, stuck there with a little magnetic clip. The boy pointed at Chike's face in the photograph, and I heard, like in a dream, "Daddy," he said, simply, without self-consciousness, the way a 3-year-old states facts. As the saying goes, kids can't make up lies. I crouched down to his level and whispered into his ears. "No, baby," I said gently. "That is Uncle Chike." He looked at me with the particular stubbornness of toddlers and pointed again, said, "Daddy." I laughed it off. Children, especially small ones, sometimes transferred the word and particular in Nigeria, where everyone was mummy, daddy, and auntie. They applied it to any man in proximity who was kind and safe and present. Chike was very good with the children. Of course the boy called him daddy. It meant nothing. I climbed back upstairs and slid back into bed next to my sleeping husband and told myself it meant nothing. And I almost believed it. But the cracks, once you begin to see them, multiply with a cruelty that feels deliberate, and your intuition starts to kick in. I noticed in the weeks that followed that Adeze rarely referred to the children's father. I mean, the man who had supposedly left. When I asked, gently, curious, she deflected with a vagueness that I told myself was grief or embarrassment. I also noticed that Chike helped bathe the children sometimes in the evenings when Adeze was cooking, with an ease and a naturalness that seemed, in retrospect, too practiced for an uncle. I noticed that he and Adeze moved around each other in the kitchen with a fluid, wordless familiarity, the familiarity of people who have shared a kitchen for years, not months. I noticed these things, and then I filed them away in a part of my mind that I kept firmly shut, because I was a rational woman, a reasonable woman, a woman who did not catastrophize from a toddler's misapplied word. Besides, as brother and sister, they grew up together and must understand each other more than I even understood my Chike. Then Emeka, the 7-year-old, who was old enough to know better, called Chike daddy in front of me at the dinner table. It was not an accident. He had called him over to look at something on his school worksheet. "Dad, can you help me with this one?" The table went quiet. Chike kept his eyes down. Adeze reached quickly for her water glass. I waited. "It is Uncle Chike, Emeka," Adeze said, her voice perfectly measured. "Sorry," Emeka said, and went back to his worksheet. No one looked at me. I put my fork down. I excused myself. I went to the bathroom, locked the door, sat on the edge of the tub, and for the first time allowed myself to think the thing I had been refusing to think. I am sure you know what is going through my mind right now. How can this be?